Hey everyone, this is icehot, and welcome to this update video for Alpha 21 of 7 Days to Die. So last night, the Fun Pimps did the first ever Alpha 21 dev stream to show off all the updates over Twitch, and they showed all their new features. In fact, they showed off quite a few of them, to be honest. So for those of you who don't know, they typically do this in a few weeks, sort of lead up to the new Alpha being released to the public. And just so you know, I am using their recording from their live stream, so that guy there in the screen is not me, it is their lead developer Lathan, who typically does their streams. So with all that said, let's get going. So when the stream first starts, you can see here that they are heading into the trader compound of Trader Wrecked, but he goes through these doubled fence doors, as you can see here. So that's really cool, and they've got this barbed wire on the fencing there. All of that's new, and then we've got this helipad over here as well. So that's really exciting, but they did say in the stream that the helipad is a precursor to something coming in Alpha 22. So I'm guessing in Alpha 22 we end up with helicopters, but we'll see. But here we are. Here's the new Trader Wreck compound. You can see it's much bigger. There's rooms here. It kind of has a farm-like feel to it, and you can see that you signs on the door. It looks really good. There's stuff everywhere. It just looks really nice. So if you come into here, you can see his new shop. And we've got fertilizer there. The lighting's very different. He's got cases of alcohol, I think, there on the left, and we've got horseshoes up there and stuff on the shelf, new lights, some posters. So as we're stepping outside of Trader Rex around here, you can see there's some old trucks as well, and then there's much more of a sort of barn and farming area. This is chemistry workstation there, and there's the barn. And as we come up here, you can see there's a propane tank on the right along with a tractor. So the whole thing, that looks like chicken coops. So the whole thing, it looks very farm-like. So they've given the traders much more of a theme by the looks of things. And we should see that with Trader Bob coming up as well. So you can see here he's coming up to the new workbench and the new forge, but these are destroyed models, so these are the unusable models, and you can see they've done them really nicely. Actually, they do actually look completely wrecked, but you can still tell what they are. They look really cool. They also mentioned the possibility of the models perhaps changing as mods are added to them, so like you could see if the anvil's in there, for example, but that may not make it into Alpha 21. So here we have Bob's Salvage, the other trader. So he's just gone here, and you can see that the sign is kind of made of car parts, I guess. There's like a hubcap for the O in Bob. And as we step inside, we can kind of see it definitely looks much more like a garage, basically, a mechanic shop. You can see the sign overhead there. You can see hubcaps in the distance. You can see on the shelves, it kind of looks like there's car parts everywhere. There's also some weapon shelves there. So it looks very different. It's got a very different feel. There's hubcaps up on the side there as well. We've got what appears here to be a brand new vending machine model as well, which looks really good. And as we turn around here, we're kind of inside this garage area, and you can kind of see that it's basically a workshop. The car is up on the lift there, and these are actually the vehicles that you can get through the game. So what they're trying to do is sort of create this sort of environment where you can see what can come later for you in the game. So there's the bicycle, the motorbike, they're all in the shop, and it does look really good. It definitely has the right feel. There's tires up there, as you can see. There's garage door entrances. So it's just as you'd imagine any sort of car workshop or garage or whatever you want to call it to be like. It looks really cool. Very atmospheric. So it looks like we have a brand new quest system. As you can see here, he's talking to the trader, and he's brought up this thing called Infested Clear. So that's a new type of quest that they brought in, and what it does is it basically takes the previous tier quest, I suppose. So this would be tier 1 because he's looking at tier 2, and turns it into the next tier up by making it infested, basically. So it's got double the amount of zombies. So he's just started a new quest here. This was originally a tier 1, and now he's taken it as an infested clear. He's in kind of like a sort of sandbox mode at the moment, if you're wondering why it looks like this. But here's the point of interest. And so this, if you imagine it should be a tier 1, now has significantly more zombies than a tier 1 would actually have. You can see him going through, killing all these guys right now. The point of interest looks really good, by the way. Interesting tent. And there we go. So yeah, he's killed off a bunch more zombies. There's a few crawlers over here, and there's still another guy there as well. So you wouldn't get this amount of zombies on a typical tier 1 quest at all. This is all because it's now been upgraded into tier 2, and you've got double the amount. It's really, really cool. So yeah, you can kind of see this. It's a brand new point of interest as well. This isn't in Alpha 20. Oh, and his limb fell off, so that was really cool. The other thing that's really cool is you'll see here is the amount of loot that he seems to get in here. He gets a really good reward, actually, a decent amount of ammo. So the next thing he seems to go into is the learn by looting system, and you can see him here. He's getting a bunch of bundles for magazines. So the new magazine system is quite interesting. So it's designed so you're not always just finding paper out and about, which, you know, gets boring. But it also means that you have to learn these magazines to be able to craft better quality items for what you're after. So if he looks in here, look, so he's got it in harvesting tools. He can now craft a tier 5 stone tool. But he can also go in here and he can craft a tier 1 wrench because he's only got 4 out of the 6. So on this, it's really interesting. He's now got 1 short for the iron pickaxe. So as you can see here, he's now going in to get another magazine of Tools Digest, read that, and now he can craft the tier 1 version of the iron pickaxe because he's now increased his skill level in that. So he can either craft a tier 5 stone axe or just a tier 1 pickaxe, which is really quite cool because before it was like you could craft the same tier of all tools no matter what. So this is really interesting for progression. Do you want to craft the tier 5 better stone tool, or do you want to start on iron tools and go with a level 1? What's really cool about something they said about this though is that the attribute that you're sort of spec'd into, if you're spec'd into like shotguns or something, the loot system is weighted, so you will get more shotgun magazines, and you will see that more in the trader as well. You will get more shotgun parts or actual shotguns for sale in the trader as well. So it's a really, really interesting system, and definitely means you're kind of forced into a certain progression. You have to kind of go up each tool one by one before you can get to the really decent stuff. You're not going to have an auger on day 2, for example. Another bit which goes along with, as you can see here, you can now also change the quality of the item that you want to craft. So you don't have all the parts to craft a tier 5, you might have all the parts to craft a tier 3 maybe, so you can craft that. That's something I always wondered why it wasn't in Alpha 20. Why can't you select what quality you want? Because you might not need a tier 5 of everything. So that's a really, really good change. You can just cycle through it like that. So the next major change they've put into the game is all these doors. Look, they've got these nice new single doors. They've got these cupboard doors which open dually. Look, you can see there you've got folding doors, you've got double doors, so many, and all these different colors and textures. You can imagine them in all sorts of different scenarios. They just look really, really cool. And if you look here, there's a gate there. And we've got these sort of roller garage doors. They seem to have these nice little shutter doors that roll up into the top thing. Look, they look really, really cool. Apparently these are powered ones as well, so they can do both power and manual use, which is really quite nice. Have lovely sliding doors. Look, doesn't that look great? Elevator doors, which look really awesome. Look at that. That's cool. Awesome. So they've also brought in this mechanic now where you can create a hole in the door itself. So if you look at this, that's not just an image effect like it used to be in Alpha 20 and below. You can actually attack through the hole in the door now, which is absolutely incredible. And then you have to hit the the rest of the door that's actually still solid in order to destroy it, basically, as you can see here. So he just created those holes, and you can shoot through them, you can put grenades through them, all sorts. Absolutely incredible. So another major change is that they've brought in tier 6 points of interest, which is going to be so cool, especially for late game. He's just demonstrating here a new tier 5 one that we've not seen before. If you look in the top right corner, there's a new feature. You can see the name of the compound. It's called Navisgain Corrections, so it's a correctional facility, a prison. And you can also see skulls below that. Now those skulls are showing the tier of, or the difficulty rather, of the point of interest. So you can see there's 5 red skulls, and that shows it's a tier 5. But on top of that, you can also see next to the red skulls, there's 2 orange skulls. Well, one of them's half filled in, and that's to do with the biome difficulty. Now he's in the snow biome in this example, so that adds 1.5 skulls, for lack of a better term, to the difficulty of the point of interest. Now he's just about to have a look and loot here. He's got some new ammunition. This point of interest, it does look really, really difficult as far as I can tell. So he's about to clip through a cheat mode, probably near the end of the point of interest, raise the shutter door, but he's got all these bad guys here, which is just so cool. There we go. And if you look through here, he's got all of these, and look at the left as you walk past that bit as well. And as he goes into this room, look at the amount of guys he's got. Now apparently they have done a load of optimizations to the game whereby this shouldn't really slow down your game too much, having a lot of zombies now. We will see how that played out for sure. We don't know, but look at the number he's got in here. This looks like a really hard point of interest, actually. You would not want to come in here on day one. Just look at them all. Yeah, absolutely crazy, but this looks awesome. We've got a whole bunch of new points of interest. There's 100 new points of interest apparently. I don't know if they're all like tier 5s and 6s. They definitely needed more stuff to do in the end game for sure. It kind of started to get a little dull as you got too good in the game, so hopefully they've made some really good improvements there, but it looks like they have. Okay, so this change should please a lot of you people out there. Yes, they are releasing on the console. This is a video, as you can see in the top right. It is of the latest build of the game, build 261. It's got the skulls under the name of the point of interest, but as you can see in the top left with the cursor moving around as well, it's got all the controls. It's the PlayStation 5 version of the game. They're working with a company in Australia to develop this on console, and it looks like they are going to release it both on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X. Fantastic news for you console players out there. They're claiming that random gen now generates maps 4 to 5 times faster than before, and they first show that roads and paths are now much smoother and link up with driveways for the properties. So you should be able to see that the roads are going nicely through the mountains, and they attach to the actual properties themselves, so much more realistic. Apparently the POIs that generate should make much more sense, and there should be a wider variety of them, so you shouldn't end up with lots of the same thing anymore, along with over 100 new POIs as I mentioned earlier. This should add a lot more to the replayability. As you can see here, how some of the POIs have much more of a story element to it, like all these cars shown queuing up at the petrol station. They also have these trailers spawning on the road randomly, which then brings in a bunch of crawlers, as you can see. They said they wanted to add more environmental storytelling, and it definitely looks much cooler, and like there was once life there before and when the apocalypse happened. There's these cool new checkpoints as well, which look really, really good, which you can imagine during the initial outbreak would have been trying to keep some control of things and the public. It's very, very immersive now. It looks really, really good. They have made a change to how vehicles interact with the world. You can now crash them and lose a lot of damage quite substantially actually, quite quickly as well. So basically you can crash into things and it will take off a huge chunk of damage, as you can see in the video here. And the idea being that what they want you to do is actually be able to break down out in the world. So they were saying they think it would be quite a good storytelling element in order to just break down somewhere because you've hit too many trees or walls or something. But every time you hit a wall, brick wall or something, you lose about 9% of your health of your vehicle. And obviously when it hits 0, that's it, it's dead. So you might want to start thinking about taking repair kits with you. Speaking of the repair kits, it now takes about 4 repair kits at least to repair the motorcycle that we see here, and bring it back from 0 to up to 100% health. That can be mitigated somewhat by taking out mechanics perks, but basically it's going to now take a lot more to repair vehicles, and they get damaged a lot more easily now. They have added new flame traps to certain points of interest, quite a few of them apparently, where the idea is that you have a gas leak and obviously it's fire, and there's now a zombie there as well that was set on fire coming to attack you. But the idea being that you have to kind of solve the puzzle to see how to turn it off. And in this example here, he's going to walk through it, and you can see it kind of slows him down. So he is stuck in the fire. They said the idea is that they really do want the fire to properly damage, if not kill you completely. So he just saved himself with God mode there for the demonstration, but he is on fire and he would have died. But the basic point is that you now need to try and solve this puzzle and figure out how to turn off the gas. Now, as you can see in this one, it's quite a simple one. All he has to really do is press that button, and then the flame will go away, and he can then walk through and complete the quest as before. But that doesn't mean all points of interest are that simple. They have made changes to the water physics, and as you can see here, he is digging this trench and water is now flowing from that river into this ditch that he's digging. He also digs down here and creates a sort of hole and digs through from underneath. He's using the dev gun, by the way, to just chop this away, but you can see there that the water is just over there, and now it's starting to flow through and it reaches him and it fills up the area he was in. So a definite improvement to water physics. They did also show stuff where the water physics is not working brilliantly either. This scenario seems to work really well, but they tried to fill up like a pond or something that they made, and that didn't seem to work great at all. So that is about it for all the new changes, or at least the major ones that they showed. So I'm going to call this video here. Thank you very much for watching. If it was useful to you, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.